The Celestial Citadel shimmered, like a prism suspended in the void, its spires glowing with bioluminescent energy that pulsed in rhythm with the heartbeat of the station. Captain Elias Vann stepped into Grand Atrium, boots clicking against polished alloy floors that hummed faintly beneath his weight. The air was thick with the mingled scent of alien flora, sweet, metallic, and tangy, and the soft murmur of translators filtering dozens of languages into something his human ears could comprehend. Diplomats and couriers floated past in zero-gravity corridors, their robes brushing against walls that glimmer with holographic constellations. He should have been an observer, an outsider here. Yet even before the summit had begun, something gnawed at the edges of his instincts, a pattern in the energy readings that didn't make sense. His hand brushed the grip of his sidearm, more out of habit than fear. Then came the alarm. A low, throbbing resonance echoed through the corridors, the lights flickering from serene blue to urgent crimson. "Report!" barked the crystalline-voiced aide, her six-limbed frame spinning slightly as she hovered toward him. "They're gone!" she said, her mandibles clicking nervously. "The Queen's daughters vanished." Elias froze. His eyes scanned the atrium, tracking floating surveillance drones. The daughters, three ethereal beings of elongated elegance, their skin glinting like liquid opal, should have been here, presiding over the ceremonial convergence of alien emissaries. Now there were only empty alcoves and the lingering scent of their presence, sharp as ozone. He swallowed, tension coiling in his chest. "Energy spikes?" he asked, his human voice rougher than intended. "Unplanned? Artificial?" The aide tilted her head, antennae quivering. "Yes, localized, but intelligent. Someone or something masked their departure." Elias's pulse quickened. 100 protocols ran through his mind. Check every airlock, every shuttle bay, every dimensional scanner. But instinct whispered a simpler truth. Humans, Elias, could perceive things even the most advanced alien sensors sometimes missed. Small gestures, patterns in behavior, subtle emotional resonance. "I'll find them," he said, voice low but firm. "Tell the Queen I'm on it." As he sprinted toward the nearest observation deck, the metallic corridors reflected the pulsing glow of emergency lights, throwing his shadow long and distorted across alien glyphs etched into the walls. The hum of the station's engines thrummed through the floor, a comforting heartbeat amidst the chaos. Outside the panoramic viewport, distant stars streaked past, a blur against the void. Somewhere in that endless dark, the daughters waited, curled up in secret, their fates tethered inexplicably to him. Elias clenched his fists, feeling the weight of human stubbornness settle in his chest like armor. The galaxy could be vast, strange, and indifferent, but humans adapted, endured, and above all, they reached where others could not. And he would reach them. The cockpit of the stellar vanguard hummed with low, metallic resonance as Elias adjusted the ship's trajectory. Outside, the nebula churned violently, a swirl of emerald and violet gas illuminated by jagged streaks of lightning that danced across ionized clouds. The daughter's faint biosignatures pulsed on his display, like distant candles flickering against a vast void. "Brace for turbulence," Elias muttered to himself, tightening the straps of the control harness. The ship shuddered as a magnetic storm tore through the region, shaking the hull. Panels flickered with warnings, the red icons reflecting off his determined face. "Elias," his AI copilot chimed in, its voice calm and analytical. "The daughter's signatures are unstable. They may be intentionally masking their presence." "I don't care why. They're out there," Elias snapped, fingers dancing across controls with human precision that alien navigation software often couldn't anticipate. "And I'm bringing them home." The Vanguard plunged through a belt of drifting asteroids, each rock glinting under the nebula's eerie glow. Elias adjusted thrust with millisecond timing. skimming past jagged surfaces while gravitational waves rippled through the cabin. He could feel the ship vibrating through his boots, the hum of engines resonating like a pulse through his body. Alien navigators would hesitate here, waiting for perfect calculations. But humans trusted instinct when the equations weren't enough. Suddenly, a shadow darted across the viewport. Sleek, angular shapes, predatory creatures adapted to zero-gravity hunting, lunged from the nebula. Elias yanked a control lever, flipping the ship into a rapid barrel roll. Plasma beams erupted from automated defense turrets, searing through the void, while a shudder of impact rocked the hull. "They're fast," Elias muttered, teeth clenched, "but not smarter than me." He remembered something the daughter's tutor had once said. Humans could connect emotionally with others, even across species boundaries, in ways no alien logic could replicate. The thought steadied him. Even here, amid cosmic violence, he could feel their fear, their trust, faint threads reaching him through the void. Sweat prickled his brow as he maneuvered through a narrow rift in the asteroid field. Light refracted through the nebula's clouds, casting fragmented rainbows on the cockpit canopy. Every motion, every decision was instinct and experience, human traits honed over millennia of survival on a fragile planet. Finally, the biosignal stabilized, coalescing in a remote orbital station tucked within a luminous gas pocket. Elias exhaled, letting a hint of relief wash over him. The storm outside still roared, but inside the cockpit he felt that same stubborn spark. Humanity's unique ability to endure, adapt, and find connection, even in the most alien and unforgiving corners of the galaxy. "Almost there," he whispered, eyes fixed on a distant outpost. Almost home. The orbital station hung like a jewel in the nebula, bathed in a swirl of green and violet light that refracted through the station's translucent hull. Elias docked the stellar Vanguard with precise human timing, the metallic clang of the docking clamps echoing through the quiet cabin. The daughter's biosignatures flickered again, soft, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat, guiding him deeper into the station's labyrinthine corridors. The air smelled of ozone and exotic minerals, a scent that prickled the nose and hinted at alien engineering. The corridors were lined with pulsing conduits of energy, casting elongated shadows that danced across the walls as Elias moved. Every step he took resonated with a careful blend of confidence and caution. He had learned early in human history that fear slows reflexes, but instinct can save lives. And then he found them, curled together on a raised platform. Their bodies glimmered with bioluminescent patterns, tiny tendrils of light tracing along their limbs like living constellations. Their eyes fluttered, not open yet, but they were aware, alert even in sleep. Elias crouched, holding out his hand instinctively. The daughter's faint energy resonances shifted, leaning toward him, as if drawn to his human presence. They knew I'd come," he whispered, a tremor of wonder in his voice. His fingers hovered just above their ethereal skin, feeling the subtle warmth and pulse beneath. He realized with a shock of awe that it wasn't just physical proximity they craved. It was trust, something humans cultivated in ways the aliens struggled to replicate. A soft hum reverberated through the platform, a sound that seemed like a lullaby in an alien key. Elias knelt, closing his eyes and letting the resonance guide him. "You're safe now," he murmured, voice low but firm. "I won't let anyone hurt you." The daughters shifted slightly, curling closer, their subtle touch sending a shiver of connection across his chest. Suddenly, the station sensors flared red. Automated defense drones were detecting an unauthorized presence. Bounty hunters, human and alien alike, likely tracking the daughter's disappearance. Elias sprang to his feet, heart hammering, yet his mind remained calm. Humans had a peculiar way of turning fear into creativity. He grabbed a plasma torch from a nearby console and improvised a distraction, sending the drones in a wild loop while he secured a safe exit. As the hum of alien machinery and the distant thrum of engines filled the air, Elias glanced at the daughters again. Their trust was palpable, fragile but absolute. In that moment, he understood why humans were special, not just because of ingenuity or courage, but because of their capacity for empathy, connection, and hope. "Come on," he said gently, guiding them toward the vanguard. "Let's get you home." Even amidst a storm of neon-lit chaos and danger, he felt an unshakable certainty. Humans could reach where no alien could through heart, instinct, and sheer persistence. Outside, the nebula roared, but inside Elias carried a light of his own making, the human spark. The Celestial Citadel gleamed like a jewel against the black canvas of space, its towers bathed in shifting neon, emerald, violet, and amber, reflecting off the polished metallic streets below. Elias stepped onto the observation deck, the daughters at his side, their bioluminescent forms flickering softly in the ambient light. The hum of hovering transport drones and the low resonance of the station's fusion engines thrummed through the floor, a heartbeat that reminded him just how alien and alive this world could feel. The Queen's Council waited, seated around a circular dais of translucent crystal. Their forms were alien and imposing, six-limbed, opalescent-skinned, with eyes that reflected entire constellations. Each member radiated suspicion and authority, their translator harmonics distorting words into harsh, precise tones. "You return with them." The Queen's voice cut through the room, melodic yet cold. "Explain." Elias's chest tightened, but he held his stance. Humans had a peculiar strength, calm under pressure, even when the stakes threatened to crush them. "They were never in danger from me," he said firmly. "They were hiding, yes, but they trusted me to find them. No one else could." A murmur passed through the council. One of the elders, limbs folded like interlocking blades, leaned forward. Trust, a human concept, fragile and irrational. Yet here they are. Explain this. Elias gestured subtly toward the daughters. "It's not just instinct. Humans can sense intention, fear, and emotion across boundaries your sensors cannot detect. It's why they came to me. And it's why I'm here not just as an outsider, but as someone who can protect them." The eldest daughter stepped closer, her glow brighter in response, eyes meeting Elias's. He felt the subtle warmth of connection, the intangible trust humans cultivate. One hand brushed against his shoulder, just a fraction, but enough to send a ripple of certainty through him. The Queen's eyes narrowed, scanning him, yet Elias noticed the tiniest shift, curiosity mingling with caution. Another counselor's voice cut sharp, like fractured crystal. "You bend protocol, human. You disrupt hierarchy." "I bend protocol when it saves lives," Elias replied, voice steady, a human stubbornness undercutting fear. "Sometimes the rules of alien civility fail where instinct, courage, and empathy succeed." For a tense moment, silence fell. The hum of the station and the distant starfield outside were the only sounds. Then the Queen spoke, softer, almost admiringly. "Perhaps humans are more versatile than I believed." The daughters leaned closer to him, a silent affirmation of trust and understanding. In that quiet moment, Elias realized that he had done more than return them safely. He had bridged a gap no alien diplomacy could fill. Humans weren't just outsiders in the galaxy. They were catalysts capable of bending impossible situations toward hope and life. As neon lights shimmered against the council chambers, Elias allowed himself the smallest smile. The storm of politics and suspicion still raged, but the human spark, ingenuity, empathy, and courage, was burning brightly, illuminating a path even the most rigid alien minds could follow. The Citadel's heart pulsed like a living organism, energy conduits snaking through translucent floors and walls, glowing in iridescent blues and purples. Alarm lights flashed intermittently as rogue factions stormed the council chambers, their sleek armor reflecting the neon chaos. Captain Elias Vann's boots thudded against the alloy floor, resonating with the low hum of the Citadel's fusion core. The daughters clung lightly to his sides, their bioluminescent patterns flickering in fear and anticipation. "Stay close," Elias murmured, adjusting the gravity dampeners on their suits. In zero-G corridors, every movement was deliberate. A push here, a spin there, and humans excelled at improvisation in ways even the most rigid alien warriors struggled to match. From above, a swarm of drone sentinels descended, their polished exoskeletons reflecting the chaos below. Plasma blades hummed and snapped in the air, the smell of ozone tangling with the metallic tang of the station. Elias lunged, using a combination of momentum and clever leverage to flip a drone into another, sparks flying as circuits overloaded. One of the daughters whispered softly, her voice a melodic shimmer in his earpiece. They listen to you." Elias grinned, even amidst the chaos. Humans had an instinct for leadership, for reading allies and enemies alike, a trait alien societies rarely cultivated beyond logic. He pivoted, catching the youngest daughter's hand. "They do, but we need to move fast." As they navigated crystalline halls, human ingenuity turned simple environmental features into advantages. Gravity nodes, typically used to stabilize the floating chambers, became traps for attackers. Elias calculated angles in milliseconds, using bursts of thrusters to dodge, strike, and protect, while the daughters followed instinctively, their trust unwavering. The cool leaders, realizing their advantage slipping, attempted to seize the daughters directly. Elias intercepted, raising himself mid-spin and using a plasma conduit as a springboard, propelling himself through the air to block their path. His pulse hammered, but adrenaline sharpened every human reflex. Even the daughters gasped in awe. This was not brute strength, but the fluid, adaptive courage that defined humanity. Finally, they reached the central chamber, a massive atrium dominated by a glowing crystal nexus. The rogue faction converged, but Elias had already set a trap. By redirecting energy pulses from the conduits, he forced the attackers into a control containment loop. Sparks cascaded like a digital waterfall, illuminating his determined face as he stood, chest heaving, between the daughters and the danger. "They're safe," he said, breathing heavily. "For now." The daughters moved closer, their touch on his chest gentle but insistent. Elias felt the warmth of their trust, the unspoken acknowledgement that humans, messy, emotional, stubborn, could bridge gaps that no alien order or technology could. Outside the panoramic windows, the Citadel's neon skyline shimmered against the nebulous-streaked void. The heart of the station pulsed in harmony with Elias's own resolve. In that moment, it was clear. Humans weren't just survivors of their homeworld. They were architects of hope, capable of reshaping even the most rigid alien societies through courage, empathy, and the spark of ingenuity that burned brighter than any star. This chapter emphasizes high-stakes action, zero-G combat, and human ingenuity, while reinforcing trust, emotional stakes, and HFY themes. It also sets up the final resolution and emotional payoff of the story. I can now expand Chapter 6. Curled up among the stars, into the story's emotional and cinematic conclusion, highlighting trust, closure, and the human-alien bond. Do you want me to continue with that? The Citadel glowed against a velvet void, its spires casting fractured neon reflections across the distant gas clouds of the nebula. The hum of engines had softened to a steady, comforting thrum, a heartbeat beneath the city of light. Captain Elias Vann stood at the observation deck, the daughters beside him, their bioluminescent forms soft against the ambient glow. The battle was over. The rogue faction neutralized, but the tension of the past days lingered like static in the air. The eldest daughter hesitated, her opalescent skin shimmering faintly as she glanced up at him. Then, slowly, deliberately, she curled into his chest. The others followed, a living constellation of trust and warmth pressed against him. Elias froze for just a moment, letting the sensation wash over him. A profound connection that transcended species, logic, and expectation. They trust you," whispered nearby aide, all lacing the crystalline tones. Elias exhaled, closing his eyes. "I'll keep them safe," he said softly. Humans weren't the strongest or the fastest or the most technologically advanced, but they had something aliens rarely understood: empathy, courage, and the instinct to protect what mattered. The daughter's trust was not earned in protocol or fear. It was earned in instinct and unwavering human presence. The queen approached, her long limbs gliding across the floor with practiced grace. She studied the scene carefully, her eyes reflecting pride and contemplation. "I underestimated your kind," she said, voice melodic, yet tinged with wonder. "Humans, you reach where no protocol can guide." Elias shrugged, a small, humble gesture. "We adapt," he said simply. "We endure. And sometimes we care enough to do what others won't." The daughters stirred, their luminous forms pressing closer. One of them whispered something Elias could not translate, yet he understood perfectly. A bond forged in trust, hope, and shared survival. The queen inclined her head subtly, allowing the human and her daughters a private moment of connection, a gesture that, in alien culture, signified both approval and recognition. Outside, the stars streaked slowly past, nebula-like casting fractured rainbows across the observation windows. Elias felt the subtle vibration of the station beneath his boots, a gentle reminder that the galaxy was alive, unpredictable, and vast. Yet in that moment, he understood something fundamental. Humans, though fragile in body, carried a spark capable of bridging worlds, healing divisions, and nurturing trust where alien minds might fail. The daughters pressed closer, and Elias wrapped an arm around them instinctively. "Home," he murmured, as the Citadel's neon lights reflected in their radiant eyes. He didn't know what awaited them next: politics, new missions, or distant stars. But he did know this: humans had earned their place, not through dominance or fear, but through courage, empathy, and the undeniable ability to connect even across galaxies. As the nebula swirled outside, the three of them curled together amidst the light and hum of the Citadel, a fragile but unbreakable testament to human resilience and heart, a spark bright enough to warm even the cold, alien expanse of space. The Celestial Citadel floated silently against the nebula-streaked void, its neon spires reflecting in the soft glow of distant stars. The hum of the stellar Vanguard's engines thrummed to the docking bay, mingling with the faint pulse of artificial gravity beneath Elias's boots. Around him, alien voices echoed in corridors, calm now, carrying the rhythm of society that had seen danger and survived. The daughters pressed close, their luminous forms curling against them like living constellations. For a heartbeat, the chaos of the past days, the storm, the pursuit, the political tension, fell away. Elias brushed a hand over the eldest daughter's glowing shoulder, feeling the warmth of trust that no scanner, no protocol could ever measure. I never thought I'd find this," Elias murmured, voice low but steady. "Not just safety, but connection." One of the daughters tilted her head, bioluminescence pulsing softly. "Humans feel in ways no calculation can capture," she whispered, her voice both alien and intimate. Elias's gaze lifted to the Citadel skyline, neon cascading over spires and walkways, reflecting the hope in his own chest. "Then maybe that's why we're here," he said quietly, "to bridge worlds and hearts." They stayed like that for a long moment, bathed in the hum of engines and the soft glow of alien light, the void outside stretching endlessly. Above them, constellations unfamiliar to human eyes spun slowly across the nebula, a silent testament to a galaxy vast and strange, but one where humanity's spark burned brighter than any star. As the daughters finally lifted their heads, their trust complete and unspoken, Elias allowed himself a rare smile. In a universe full of impossibilities, humans had discovered something extraordinary: the ability to reach across the cosmos and across the soul.